what I have here. Discount Halloween chocolates. Of course, I'm taking advantage of this moment to enjoy some new chocolates and sweets that I haven't tried before. So I've never tried the Roses Cadbury collection, and it's really interesting. They have a few different flavors at the back. So what I think I should do is to use these chocolates as a motivator for this composition that I have to get done in less than 2 weeks. Currently handwritten, and I need to put it into the computer, which means it needs to be done very late by the end of this week. What I was thinking is that for each bar that I complete, which actually contains about 6 to 7 instruments, so one bar is quite a bit of work, I try one of these chocolates and talk about what it tastes like. Kind of like a bit of a chit chat session about like how I compose, anything else random coming into my head. So before we get started on the actual composition, I do want to have a peek inside and see what it looks like. How do I open this? Oh, ooh. Whoa, look at this. Looks so good. So they've got classic milk, peppermint creme crunch, hazelnut swirl, classic caramel, caramel deluxe, hazelnut creme crisp, vanilla nougat, white raspberry, Turkish delight, dark, and mocha nougat. What a beautiful and crazy collection. I feel like this is going to be a bit of a chaotic video. Who knows? I'm going to leave that there. I wrote down a list of things that I needed to do. I already fixed the mistakes from the previous pages, and for each of the bars, I'm going to do a little tick after I've done them. Going back to the previous section, I'm kind of up to a slow section here right now. We had a really fast rhythmic section. I'm currently up to a slower section that's kind of requiring a bit of weight. And what I normally do is, I have actually my MacBook right in front of me. I like to play out my melody on the piano and not have the Sibelius playback, because if you listen to that a lot, you end up getting used to that sound and you actually don't understand what the balance of the instruments actually are like. So I prefer playing a lot of the melodic stuff on the piano, on Logic, and then listening to it and then imagining it as the instruments that I'm writing for. So the instrumentation that I'm writing for currently in this section is flute, bass clarinet, vibraphone and cymbals, woodblock, perhaps bass drum with a friction mallet, violin, and cello. So these are how many instruments I have to write for each bar. The whole idea of this section is slowly move to a different harmonic progression. Yeah, I don't think it'll be too hard because I've got each of the melodic lines kind of already sort of figured out. I want the cello to do some textural stuff in the background, whether it's a bit of sol pont, tremolos, or gradual transition between sol tasto and sol pont. So this section in the piece is the identity of the character slowly deteriorates and transforms into something that they don't quite recognize about themselves. So I'm thinking about something along the lines of making it quite tonal and then actually making it quite empty by the end of the section. So then the emptiness allows for a reintroduction of something more rhythmic later on in the piece, maybe ending quite chaotically. We don't know. Did I just accidentally paint my entire lockdown mood swings? Who knows? So I'm up to 3 minutes and 30 in this piece, but this is quite a slow section, so I'm pretty sure we'll get to 4 minutes and 4 minutes and a half pretty quickly. Let's see if we can get to 4 minutes and a half by the end of the session. So what I also tend to do is I have little improvisations that I actually record into Logic as separate piano tracks, and I re-listen to them and get inspirations on the harmonic progression or interactions between the different voices in the piano. I don't directly follow it, because if you completely follow your piano improvisation, you'll find that a lot of the harmonic movements and chords tends to be restricted by your hand span. So you definitely want to avoid that when you're composing, to always consider the instruments that you're writing for and just take what you think will bring out the most sonic and or technical potential of your instruments, and that they have to blend well together. So yeah, hot tip right there. I actually wrote a bit more than one bar. So, shall we have a look and see which chocolate I should try first? Trying this one first. I think it is the Caramel Deluxe. That's exciting. Caramel Deluxe. I wonder what the difference between the Caramel Deluxe and the classic caramel is. Two layers of caramel inside. I like it. Very sweet. Right, back to work. Hey, bar 2 finished. It's already been 40 minutes, goodness. I got the Turkish Delight one. Looks like a little pyramid, but without the sharp bit at the top. I like it. Oh, it's so good. I freaking love Turkish Delight. Like a pink goo in the middle. I'm a fan. Right, back to work. So what I did just then was I went and got my hard drive with all of my old compositions on it, and yeah, I'm just gonna reference one of my old compositions because sometimes, even though you've written for an instrument before, such as the bass clarinet, I just forget which multiphonics worked really well, and so I'm referencing my old works just to see which multiphonics I can kind of steal from my own composition. There is absolutely no shame in recognizing that you don't know that much about an instrument. And that's what composing is all about. It's about exploring different instruments, different techniques. Nothing is created out of genius. Everyone started somewhere. Everyone had people that inspired them, even Beethoven himself. So it's always a collaborative effort. Finished one more bar. Oh, this time I got the classic. When I went to the shops today to get this chocolate, I had a little hesitation about, what about my summer bod? Because it's about to be summer in Australia. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I deserve to taste the gloriousness of this and help motivate my creativity. Yeah. This one just has the original Cadbury on it. Pure Cadbury goodness. Back to it. So I had to take a tiny break because my charger just doesn't really reach my tripod. So yeah, I had to take some time charging my phone and scroll through Instagram. What is so scary is I got a Cadbury chocolate ad pop up on my Instagram. My phone is definitely listening to me. This is really, really scary. All right, back to work. Finished one more bar. Oh, I got the classic caramel. wonder what the difference is between the classic and the deluxe. Oh, it's chewy caramel. Very similar to a fantail. Consistency is more like red skin, very sticky on the teeth. It's really good, but it's so sweet. Let's go. Finish all of that. I got the peppermint one. It's like a little circular thing. Oh. So inside, it is kind of like gooey peppermint, but on the top, it's got some crunchy, like sugar crystals, I think. I feel like because of the consistency, it really feels like I just squeezed out a bit of toothpaste on this chocolate. I actually get a lot of questions about why I choose to handwrite a lot of my music. The simple answer is I feel like it facilitates my creative flow the best. People who are really familiar with Sibelius and other softwares would probably prefer to just write straight into the computer, like Finale or Sibelius or Dorico. But I'm technologically incapable, and I really don't like having to fiddle around with all the gross engraving stuff. And what's also really lovely about it is I don't have to be glued to the screen all the time. I find that if my eyes are constantly looking at the screen, I get super tired. In fact, my eyes get super tired that I actually have these eye drops that I use quite often. You have no idea. Like, I looked at my average screen time the other week and it's 5 hours. Like, what? I spend 5 hours of my everyday life, it used to be longer as well, staring at a freaking screen, trying to compose. I prefer to gather all of my stuff, my paper and everything, pick a park, pick a beautiful picnic spot and actually handwrite there, and it really helps channel all of my music by surrounding myself with some greenery. I tend to actually not compose too often at home either. I tend to want to go to a cafe or go to the beach to compose. Yeah, I really like changing up my environment when I'm composing as well. Alright, one more bar. Vanilla nougat. Oh, it's really soft. Right, let's keep working. I'm not sure about the best way to notate flute harmonics, especially if I want a harmonic tremolo. I'm gonna ask a friend. Blah, blah, blah. Let's try this one. I think this one's a strawberry one. It's got little bits of strawberry in it. Another thing that composers who are just starting their composition career / education should always consider how much they develop their musical ideas. You'll find, and what you'll hear from a lot of composition tutors, is that they don't take enough time to develop their idea. And that's definitely something that I'm still working on, since I'm still pretty early on in my career. And I think the reason why is because that same idea has gone through our heads like a bajillion times. That's why we feel like it's not that exciting if we keep sitting in it. Like, imagine having Twinkle Twinkle Little Star stuck in your head many hours of the day as you keep kind of like repeating it, trying to think of what happens next. You don't really want to stick to that for too long when you're writing. It always feels like you want to move on from that really cool idea that you had because you've had it played so many times in your head. And so one of my favorite ways to kind of combat that is to kind of reset my inner ear. I reset my inner ear and I play through that section from beginning to end. And I'm trying to put myself in the shoe of an audience who's hearing it for the first time. And if I feel like oh, that's such a cool idea, but I didn't give it enough color, enough time to actually really appreciate it, all I'll do is repeat it, but in different registers with different syncopation, maybe mixing up the instrumentation a little bit. There's so many ways that you can develop an idea, and it doesn't have to be complicated all the time. So that's a hot tip, is that if you feel like, oh, I need to sit in that idea a little bit more, but you don't want to use too much of your brain power because you've already had that section go through your head like a bajillion times, this is a really, really good way to elongate your sections. I'm gonna try the hazelnut creme crisp. This tastes almost exactly like a Ferrero Rocher. Anyways, this is what I've done so far after 2 hours of work. What can I say? There are some people who compose like the freaking wind, but that's okay. I take my time. It's very therapeutic for me to do handwritten music, so thank you for watching. I hope this was entertaining, me slowly spiraling into madness as I get more and more sugar high. The idea with this section is pretty fun. Basically, each instrument takes turn to kind of peek through the texture to be slowly shown under the spotlight until all the instruments sort of descend into madness. I don't know if people can hear that, but that's the idea.